restless bed, a humdrum life pounding in my head. When out of the night came a mighty roar.
The 1966 dam that created Lake Powell was and will remain among the nation's most controversial environmental projects, destroying numerous ancient artifacts, animal habitats, and drowning the entire Glen Canyon. David Brower, the Sierra Club, and many other environmentalists fought the government's decision to create such a potentially detrimental device. With its creation, a new era of environmentalism began. Not only did the dam affect the Glen Canyon, but the Navajo and Hopi tribes of Black Mesa, the populations of Phoenix and Tucson, Arizona, and the way environmentalism was perceived and carried out. The Glen Canyon Dam, built in 1966 following the Colorado River Compact of 1922, was and will remain among the nation's most controversial environmental mistakes. You see, the dam was built to control the Colorado River's erratic flow and provide water to the drive to southwest, particularly to Phoenix and Tucson, Arizona. With its creation, the dam filled the little-known yet utterly fascinating Glen Canyon, taking with it a diverse ecosystem and collection of valuable Native American artifacts. In an effort to save these artifacts, one of the largest-scale excavation efforts up to date was put underway. Archaeologists were frantically salvaging and documenting these cultural treasures before they were triumphed by the forces of man, conquering those of nature.
The Glen Canyon project was designed to identify, record archaeological sites that were going to be affected by the formation of Lake Powell. Did not have as many sites as comparable areas in the higher country where farming was more possible, was better carried on. But there were several thousand archaeological sites that we identified in the area to be flooded, and then we knew that the creation of the lake would also bring lots of additional people into the area for recreation, which has happened. You know, at the time I started work on the project in 1958, it was one of the least visited areas of the United States, one of the more remote areas with relatively few roads and that kind of thing. But now we get there between 1 and 2 million people a year visit the area, and because of Lake Powell.
In order to clear the canyon so the dam could be built, excavation tunnels were dug and dynamite exploded the elegant walls that had once lined the canyon. From his office in Washington, D.C., President Dwight Eisenhower signaled the beginning of construction. Alongside him, in a frantic effort to save the canyon, was David Brower, president of the Sierra Club. The Sierra Club is often blamed for the fate of the canyon. The original dam was to be built in what is now Dinosaur National Monument. However, the Sierra Club and other environmental groups protested, Brower famously arguing, "Should we also flood the Sistine Chapel so tourists can get nearer the ceiling?" which sparked a nationwide protest against the planned dam project in the canyon. The Bureau of Reclamation decided to offer protection to Echo Park in exchange for the Glen Canyon, which was relatively overlooked until it was far too late for any conservation efforts to impact its construction. Brower famously visited the canyon shortly before it was flooded and was astounded by its beauty. He began arguing that to flood such a place would be America's most regretted environmental mistake, and insisted in writing "The Place No One Knew." Much to his and environmentalists across the region's dissatisfaction, the last-minute efforts to protect the canyon failed, and the dam was constructed.
3 cheers for the Reclamation Bureau, freeloaders with souls so pure, wiped out the good Lord's work in 6 short years.
Well, when we heard that Glen Canyon was going to be dammed, it was just something we didn't believe. We didn't think that anybody in their right mind could destroy a place like a natural Eden.
Down with the Reclamation Bureau, up the Reclamation Bureau and their little cousins. Hard hats by the dozens, the stupid Army Corps of Engineers.
After World War II, there was so much building going on. I mentioned the interstate highway system was being built. The Bureau of Reclamation and the Army Corps of Engineers were building reservoirs all over the country. Just lots of things going on. We sort of thought, we were just not really. We were all pretty young, and we thought, wow, this is a beautiful place. It's just too bad it's going to be flooded, but we didn't think there was anything you could do about it. That there wasn't any mechanism, for feeling we could do something about it. So we did our job. We treated it as a job, did the best we could.
The entire canyon flooded with a bank account of water. Phoenix and Tucson wanted it, but in order to pump it, they needed power from coal. The government and private corporations began to mine on Black Mesa, which happens to lie in both Navajo and Hopi sacred grounds. In 1964, Peabody Coal Industries signed a contract with the Navajo Nation and later the Hopi people, allowing the industry's use of natural resources and an aquifer. Peabody's use of this aquifer to wash coal led to a severe decline in water available to the natives, as they were using 3 million gallons of the Navajo sacred water supply each day. This process became known as the Central Arizona Project, using coal from sacred lands to pump water from 336 miles away into an urban society in the middle of the desert where we can't sustain it. By creating a steady source of water, the nation basically fed a weed that began to grow exponentially. The combination of these events was arguably the ignition for the modern environmental movement. To environmentalists, the Glen Canyon Dam was like a clog in the Earth's arterial system, which believed that removing dams was like performing agoplasty for the planet. In 1981, the radical group of eco-terrorists, Earth First, cast a 300-foot black banner down the sinfully ugly face of the dam, built to mimic a crack, as if to represent how temporary itself the dam was in the face of nature. Following this, author Edward Abbey released his most popular book, The Monkey Wrench Gang, in which a group of environmental activists fight industrialization in the Southwest. This book inspired a generation of eco-terrorists, raising awareness to the environmental movement and creating a new appreciation for the wilderness. After the Glen Canyon was lost to the dam, the Sierra Club vowed never to let any other natural magistry meet the same fate. Environmentalists grew savage at this point. Between the feeling of failure from the Glen Canyon Dam, the inspiration provided by the Monkey Wrench Gang, and the radicalized generations of students who had grown up marching for the civil rights, the draft, the women's movement. These students looked at how our environment was being corrupted and linked it to capitalism. They knew that capitalism was evil, that didn't care about the environment, just creating excess product at the lowest possible cost. After the Vietnam War ended and the boom in production began, these students began listening to the ideas in Rachel Carson's green book, Silent Spring. The book essentially claimed that post-war America's new reliance on pesticides was dangerous and accused the government, private corporations, and the agriculture business of poisoning the environment. This helped raise awareness to the environmental movement as well, inspiring hundreds to take the streets and fight for our home. This related to the Glen Canyon and what was lost, as many students now not only knew how to express their opinions through activism, but they understood why Powell was built in the first place. Powell was built not to control flows to Lake Mead or provide water to the Southwest. It was, but with its creation, they brought a popular tourist destination to Page, Arizona. They made money off water and electricity, off tours of Antelope Canyon and Rainbow Bridge, a sacred place to the Navajo. It would be biased to say the dam is ridiculous and unnecessary. It provides a lot of people with water and power. Just the fact it was built was a triumph in and of itself. For its time, the dam broke all odds. Man managed to stop one of the largest and most unpredictable rivers in the middle of the desert. And the project included building over 500 routes for access and a large suspension bridge stretching the wide canyon. With it and other dams on the Colorado River system's creation, Phoenix transformed from a cluster of desert ranches to an urban sprawl, and Black Mesa Reservation transformed from a collection of cow shacks and trailer homes to a toxic coal power plant that literally leaves chemical waste in the ground where it can easily seep into the Navajo and Hopi aquifer. Thanks to these dams, the Colorado River commonly dries up before it reaches California. Activists fought these dams and continue to today. They fought air pollution, global warming, the reduction of national parks, mining, fracking, and deforestation. They fought many battles for the future of Earth, not just then, but today as well. Unfortunately, it's just getting worse. Last year, we reached record-breaking highs as America released 3.4% more carbon dioxide than the year before. Climate scientists are beginning to worry about the near future of Earth, claiming they significantly underestimated just how dramatic changes in climate would be. Donald Trump shares his plan to downsize Bears Ears National Monument. The Navajo and Hopi people still fight for their land and water from Peabody. The Glen Canyon Dam and its ladder, Lake Mead, each currently hover at about half full. Due to Powell's large surface area, an estimated 179 billion gallons of water is lost each year due to evaporation and leakage. Every minute, we lose 27 soccer fields worth of forest, totaling 18.7 billion acres of deforestation each year. Earth's oceans house an estimated 14 billion pounds of mostly plastic trash each year. This year, we spent $639 billion tax dollars on protection via our military, but the EPA only receives $18.4 billion to protect the future of Earth. Right now, our biggest threat isn't North Korea. It isn't Afghanistan, and it definitely isn't in space. Right now, our biggest threat is ourselves. So maybe it's finally time we put Earth first, so we can continue to do the things we love with the people we love in the places we love.